Okay, so all right, so hey guys, so I'm not really gonna do a silly little intro this time, and main reason is it's the 4th of July, and I have a little American flag. I did have a one shirt with the American flag on it. I can't find it, so I just decided to wear a little Captain America shirt. So I just wanted to say, even though I am kind of celebrating it, I have this American flag that you've probably seen in these videos. I gotta admit, I'm not very happy with the state that America's in right now, and feel America still has potential to be great, but I feel at the moment there's a lot of racist hatred going around the world. There's a lot of police violence. There's a lot of the COVID thing is becoming out of control in the United States, and one thing I gotta say is I want everyone who's watching this come to celebrate the birth of our nation and celebrate it, and don't go into fights with people no matter what religion they are, what race they are, what sexuality they have, or anything like that. Like, just love everyone like as if they're people, like they are. Don't ever judge someone out of something that's completely out of their control. Love everyone despite their political movement, as long as they're not like incredibly extreme, despite their religion, despite their race, despite anything. You shall take this day to live together in peace, I guess. So anyway, so now let's go into my CDs. Sorry about the little rant, but all right. So this is Tattoo You by the Rolling Stones. This one I have not actually heard. The only reason I actually own it is because my mom's dad gave me some CDs that he had, and this is one of them. I've never actually heard this album, so I'll probably give it a listen. And if I don't like it, I'll just toss it, and if I do, I'll probably keep it. Okay, this one is The Fragile by... Oh, you didn't start the alarm?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay, alright. Okay, this one's The Fragile by 9 Inch Nails. This is I actually own the vinyl of this as well, and I got the CD first because the vinyl was originally very hard to find, but they reissued it. And the cool thing about 9 Inch Nails is their vinyls come with booklets, so this CD booklet is almost incredibly similar to the vinyl booklet, except I think the vinyl booklet's longer. And the vinyl comes with 2 booklets. One for the original record, and then one for like a little thing showing what all it, like the making of it, that all the reissues kind of came with. Well, this is my favorite 9 Inch Nails album though. It's very long though, it's over an hour and a half long, but very great release. And Trent Reznor of 9 Inch Nails said it's also his favorite release too. Alright. You're probably familiar with this one. This is actually either my mom or my dad owned this. This is the Pulp Fiction soundtrack. Pulp Fiction is one of my favorite 90s movies. It's my favorite movie by Quentin Tarantino. And obviously, I guess I have listened to the soundtrack technically because I've seen the film a bunch of times. But I've never actually listened to the soundtrack alone. But I'm going to keep it because I enjoy the music off of it. So there's little interludes too, looks like. Let's see here. Little clips from the movie, looks like. In the back, some more clips. Alright. This is I let my dog out a bit ago. I'm gonna let her back in once we're done with this video. So if you hear her, this one's Fab The Land by the Prodigy. They're a electronic dance music group from the 90s. They're from England, and unfortunately, the vocalist of this group I think committed suicide a couple of years ago. Unfortunately, but I started listening to their music a lot once that happened. It's very unfortunate, but. Well, this is my favorite release by them is Fab The Land. It's probably their most popular release. It had songs like Smack My Bitch Up and that probably everyone's heard. It has Breathe, and Firestarter is another really good song off this. All right, this one is Carrie in the Well by Sufjan Stevens. And this is one of my second favorite album in 2015. My favorite's probably The Powers That Be, but it was my favorite Sufjan Stevens album. And it's crazy to see that he actually, in my opinion at least, topped his album Illinois. I think some people still view Illinois as his best, but I personally think this one's better. It's very, well, more personal and stuff. But Sufjan Stevens is one of my favorite singer-songwriters, I had to say. It's a little booklet. So. Alright, put that back. A lot of the album's lyrics were inspired by the passing of his mother. Okay, so this one is Floating Into the Night by Julie Cruz. And actually, one thing that's interesting is, this is kind of weird. So when I got this, I borderline feel like this might actually be a fake release. It's probably kind of weird to think that. But let me tell you why I borderline feel like this is a fake CD. So, first of all, the booklet's kind of weird. I don't know if you can kind of see. It's very dark looking. And also, when I got it, it came in a tray, right? But the tray was it used a clear tray, and underneath it was just white, and then the back of this was upside down. So, I mean, it's probably not fake. They probably just used, and the booklet's in really bad shape, looks like. But, yeah, I don't know. But I own the vinyl of this, and they used a lot of her songs on the show Twin Peaks. The main single, Falling, was used as an instrumental version of that song was used for this. And David Lynch, the director of Twin Peaks and a bunch of movies, he wrote all the lyrics, and then the composer of the soundtrack to Twin Peaks, he made the soundtrack, Angelo Badalamenti. I don't know how to say his name, but okay, so this one is Selected Ambient Works 85 to 92 by Aphex Twin. And this is regarded as a masterpiece in the electronic music genre, and it's generally regarded as his best, and it was my favorite for a really long time, but I don't know, I kind of like Richard D. James' album more, though. But I own the vinyl of this as well. And this is just the inside of it, but it's a lot more calm than his other releases, a lot easier to get into, I'd probably say. And it's more of an ambient techno kind of thing, and it's called 85 through 92 because he was there's one track that he made when he was a teenager, and the rest of them were made in 1992. That's why it's called 85 through 92. Usually if it had a name like that, it's usually a compilation. I guess not this time. Okay, so this one is Music Has the Right to Children by Lords of Canada. And they're a Scottish electronic music group. The album is kind of similar to Selected Ambient Works, I'd probably say. Possibly a bit more well-known, but maybe not. No, I don't think it is. But this is their most well-known release. I still kind of would have to say I prefer GeoGaddy over this one, but this one's a really good, great release too, and more really very like psychedelic in sound. I think some people kind of find the interludes on it kind of creepy, and they're really good, personally at least. All right, this one. Let's see here. This is In the Court of the Crimson King by King Crimson. This is their first album, and it's almost like the completely birthed, I wouldn't say, yeah, I guess, it was one of the first progressive rock albums, I believe, and it was kind of arguably the most, I would say arguably, yeah, the most influential in its sound, I'd probably say. It's generally considered to be one of the greatest rock albums ever made, but I wouldn't, I do think it's a bit overrated, but I do enjoy it, though. I still think it's a great release, but I prefer Red and Lark's Tongues over this. But I do think it's a great album, though. I just don't like it as much as a lot of other people do, if that makes sense. That's just me, though. Alright, so this one is In the Airplane Over the Sea by Neutral Milk Hotel. This is, I'd say, one of the most well-known of the little meme, 4chan Mew kind of album covers, I'd probably say. But it's also generally regarded as a masterpiece in indie rock. And I remember when I first heard this album, I loved it so much, and I listened to it so much, because I thought it was such a pretty album, and even though there's a bunch of memes off of it, and some people like, oh, you're a hipster for liking this album, but it's a great release. But do I think it's the greatest indie rock album ever made? Probably not. I think, in my opinion, probably The Lonesome Cry to the West by Modest Mouse would have to be my favorite indie rock album if I had to say. But this is a great release too, though. Yeah, this is gotta be kind of weird to put in. All right. Okay. This one is Man Machine by Kraftwerk, and it's kind of weird getting the CD version of this, I gotta admit. I mean, I didn't think it was as weird, but the vinyl version of this is pretty much exactly like the CD version, because it comes with a booklet and everything. It's almost like a miniature version of the vinyl, almost, if that makes sense. I don't know, but it seems a bit pointless to get, because, I don't know, but I usually like to get the vinyl and CD, but I don't think I really want to do that anymore. But Kraftwerk's packaging is awesome. There you have one of the coolest looking packaging for albums I've ever seen, and CD, and really great photos in these too. They're a German electronic music group, and unfortunately, Florian passed away, I think a month or so ago. But yeah, but they're a really great group. They're probably my favorite group from Germany. All right, let's see here. This one is Mystic Styles by 3-6 Mafia. We'll do this one and then we'll cut it off for the day. So this one's Mystic Styles by 3-6 Mafia, and they're kind of more well known as a crunk group now. I mean, they probably only did that when they, but this is their first album though, not their, but this is their debut album. So they were in the Memphis rap scene, and I'd say they're arguably the most well known in it. And Memphis rap is one of my favorite styles of hip hop. It's like a very lo-fi sound, and obviously most of them are from Memphis, Tennessee, and it's paved way for a lot of trap music. But the lyrics were very horrorcore themed, and horrorcore is like horror themed rap lyrics, and a lot of the lyrics in Memphis rap were heavily violent. A lot of times they would sample horror film soundtracks and even have satanic like lyrics in them, including this release has a lot of satanic lyrics in it. But I think they're not Satanists themselves. I think they just did that to be edgy. But yeah, this is a great album though. I think I prefer Underground Volume 1 over this, but it's a really great release too. Now that is about it. That's all we're gonna do for this video, and I hope you guys enjoy watching. Goodbye.